Hello, everyone. Welcome to Creative Crafters, brought to you by the Perry County Public Library and me, Miss Jessie Chandler, the Children's Youth Services Librarian. Today, we are going to make our very own sock gnomes. We are going to need some supplies, and we may need help from some adults, just on a few little different things. We are going to need a pair of socks, which I bought two because I knew I was going to be making two gnomes. So I got these socks for $1 a pair. So they were pretty, reasonably priced. One of these foam cones. I got these in a 2-pack. They cost around $3. A little wooden bead or something that you can make the nose out of. You can also use, if you have different color puffballs, which I'm going to use this puffball at the end of my gnome hat. And we are going to take, and I'm going to show you how to make our own little beard, or if you wanted to have little pigtails and bangs. This is actually made from yarn. So you can take it, this is the fluffier yarn. You can see this is thicker than regular yarn. I've lost my sieve so it doesn't tell me what like weight it is or anything. But this is just a thicker yarn and it is the rope yarn. And I'm going to show you how we can make it look like hair. So I'm going to cut off a long size piece. I'm going to fold that in half and make another cut. And then I'm going to take these two and I'm going to tie them in the middle. And that just gives me something to hold on to. Just like that. So I've got 4 strands. We can say that this is just an example of how to make bangs. Now, if you have a pet brush, one of the little wire brushes, this actually works a little bit better with those, but I didn't have that. I did have my hairbrush, and as you can see, there's some yellow in it from my project earlier. And what I'm going to do is I am going to brush this out. You can use a bristle brush, you can use a little wire brush, and you are going to lose some of the fiber. That's okay. But this is going to make it look like hair. And the more you put together, the more hair that you're going to have. But you can make that. And then you can either glue it on like this and then trim it, or you can trim it right now. So we're just going to trim it right now. We're going to need scissors today, and we can't really use kid scissors for this. We need something that can cut through fabric. So a good pair of scissors, and if you need help, ask an adult. An adult, I'm sure, will help you with this project. And we can use hot glue, which we want to be very careful. Hot glue can burn you. We want to use this with adult supervision. We can sew this together. We could even try to pin it together, or if you want to get some liquid stitch, which is like a fabric glue, that can also work. I'm using this. Now, on my first one, I thought, well, let's see how long it takes to sew. It didn't take very long to sew. I did a simple little stitch in the back from where I cut my sock, and that's how I did this. Like, none of this is glued together. I actually sewed all that on there. But let's get started. So you can make your hair, you can make your this is my beard. So I've already made that. And I'm going to pick, since I did the rainbow stripe for the body on the girl, I'm going to use the star stripe for the little boy now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cone down in the sock. I'm just going to roll that up, kind of like when we're putting socks on at home. And you can see there's the seam, and that's going to go at the bottom wide base. That's where I'm going to put that. Put that on there. I'm going to try to make sure that the seam is on the bottom. So I'm going to try to make sure that we can't see the seam. Or won't see the seam. And then I'm going to pull that up. Trying to make sure it looks even on all sides. That my stars look nice and even. Now, some people cut this off at the top. I did not cut mine off at the top, and I'm going to tell you why. This helps my hat to stand up better. So I'm going to use this. Now, depending on what tutorial you see, they'll be like, well, you can use an ankle sock for the body, and they want you to do a crew sock, which has got the longer thing for the hat. Really, it just depends on what length you want your hat. These are both ankle socks, and that's how long the hat is on this. Now, for the hats, I'm going to turn my sock inside out. Just because we're going to have to glue this, and this will make it a little bit easier. We want to find the heel. So we've got it like that, regular sock. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this sock. Now, I'm going to start right above the cuff. See there? Right above the cuff. And I'm going to cut part of the ankle, part of the heel, and I'm going to go to the top until it makes a point. And don't worry, it is going to curl, but you can see just like that. Now, very carefully, I'm going to glue the two pretty sides together just a little bit, just at the edge. So I'm going to get my glue gun, and I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to put a little bit of glue, just enough to hold it. Now be careful. You might want to use a popsicle stick or a piece of paper just in case the glue gets too hot. You don't want to burn your fingers, but I'm going to glue the seam together just a little at a time. This is a really fun project because you can do all kinds of seasonal projects with this because they do seasonal socks. So you can make some that look like Easter Bunny or for Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day, Halloween. So some really nice Halloween gnomes. Christmas. You could do your favorite sports teams. You could do a breakfast gnome. I saw one that had like avocados. And then I had saw some with eggs and bacon. So we're just going to glue this together. We're going to take our time. We're in no hurry. Now, while I've got my glue gun over here, I do have a paper plate, or you can use a piece of cardboard to put your glue gun on while it's resting. That way we don't get glue on our table or on anything else that we don't want it to be on. And that's just good to use anytime that you're working with a glue gun. But like I said, we want to be really careful. And I'm just doing about a half an inch to an inch at a time, gluing this together. Because like I said, I want to be very careful. I don't want to burn myself. I don't want to mess up my project. This is also a good project too, that if you've got a bunch of loose socks, or if you had one sock that got a hole in it that you don't want to fix, this is a good way to use up those mismatched socks. Or even a matching sock. No one says that you can't match. Ooh, burnt myself a little. See, this is the reason why we're careful. So, I've got this glued together. And I'm going to let this rest for a minute so that the glue sets up, because we're going to turn this inside out. So now we've got this. And I'm just going to twist it at the top, just because that helps to keep the fabric tight. And I am going to take my little beard. And it's a long one. You see it matches all the way down. So I'm going to glue this into one spot. Now I'm waiting to put my nose on because I want to see how far my hat comes down. And that way I can glue my nose in between my nice little beard. I like his yellow beard. You see a lot of gnomes with like gray beards or white beards. I'm like, I know plenty of people. I'm like blonde, red. If you wanted to do blue, that would be pretty cool. Blue-eared, like the pirate. So we've got that on there. Now we've let this rest for a minute, so we're going to carefully turn it right side. And don't worry, if it pops apart, we can always glue it back together. That's the reason we have the glue gun to the side. So I've got this, I've got my little hat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue my pom-pom to the end of my hat tail. So I'm just going to do a dot of glue. I'm going to press that on there really good. We're going to let that cool for a second. Oh, see, now that's cute. So, we have our front. And like I said, we're going to twist this. That just gives a little bit of stuffing for our hat. So, I'm going to take my hat and I'm going to put the seam toward the back. And I'm going to put this over. And then I'm going to take and kind of work around the sock that's on the inside. Give it a little bit of height. And that'll make my little sock droop over. And where we did use a knot on our beard, you may see a little bit of knot right there. You can see there's a little bit of a knot. But the way I'm going to work around this is I'm going to put my bead right around through there so you really can't tell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to part my hair right around where that knot's at. And I'm going to glue my bead on there. It's going to be part on the end of my hat, and then part into my beard, and then part onto the other sock. Just like that. So give that a second, and then you can either rebrush or just put it down. If you want to make sure that it stays, you can always put a little dab of glue behind there and make sure that it covers up. And if you want to trim, you can trim. You can even trim it into a point. I'm going to trim mine up just a little bit. We'll have, oh my goodness, gnome beard. And there we have an awesome DIY sock gnome. Look at that. I love his beard. They're brother and sister. What do you think we should name them? I'm thinking Shelly. I like Shelly. And Perry. After our library. I hope that you guys enjoyed doing this project as much as I enjoyed doing it. Tune in each month for a new craft from Creative Crafters. Thanks for watching.